I'm Keith Landers. I'm the host of The Truth About News. And you can like our page, subscribe, which I suggest you do. Subscribe and you'll never miss an episode of The Truth About News. We tell the truth about news. No ifs, ands, buts about it. And look at the website, like us on Facebook, YouTube. Just give us a thumbs up, or give us a thumbs down if you want to, whichever. What we prefer, the thumbs up. So in the news today is President Trump has had a press conference a few days ago. I think it was about August 11th, where he announced that he's sending in the National Guard to Washington, D.C., as he claims to lower the crime or prevent crime, as he calls it. And President Trump held up a chart. Now, this chart was not the first time that I've seen this chart. This chart was displayed August the 6th on a Fox News show. And the data is from 2023. Now, since then, according to reports, that the homicide rate has fallen considerably. Now, President Trump made the accusation that the rate was the worst in the world. It wasn't the worst in the world in 2023, and it's not the worst in the world in 2024. That's a false and inaccurate claim. Matter of fact, according to reports and analysts, in 2023, there's at least 49 other cities in the world that have higher homicide rates than Washington, D.C. The Department of Justice has also put out a report back in January in a press release saying violent crime for 2024 in the District of Columbia is down 35% from 2023, and it's as low as it's been in over 30 years. So I don't know where Donald Trump got those numbers from, but they are wrong. And this idea about him sending in troops to reduce crime, January 6th, 2021, did y'all see all the Trump supporters storming the Capitol, beating up the police, pepper spraying police, beating police up with flags? You know what Donald Trump said? Nancy Pelosi was in charge of the National Guard. That's what he said. Nancy Pelosi was Speaker of the House at that time. Nancy Pelosi is not in charge of the National Guard, right? He is. Now when he get in charge, there's no crime wave, there's no riots, there's none of that. Crime rate is down, and yet he sent the National Guard into Washington, D.C. Now there's some video clips of some these National Guard walking the street. There's about 10 of them walking the streets, and they in the neighborhood. And these people are sitting on the porch. I hope we find that clip. And they actually, what are you doing? What are you doing? You don't ask people in America sitting on their own property what they're doing. They ain't breaking the law. See, here's the problem with all this. This stuff, when you sick the National Guard on its own people, there has to be an emergency situation. There's no emergency situation here. There's no riots. You got protests, peaceful protests, not like the ones that Trump supporters did, right? So this is all about change the topic from Jeffrey Epstein. I'll get to that in a moment. But it's also about intimidation. Donald Trump looked like he can do what he want to do. He don't care what the governor says. He don't care what the mayor say. He don't care what the state legislation say about these issues. He just want to do it any way he want to do it. And he usually finds some old antiquated law in the law books that somebody find that allow him to do it. Just because you can do it doesn't mean you should. All right? Because this is pure intimidation and it's harassing American citizens. We find this stuff in places like Banana Republic or communist countries. This is what they do in Russia. This is what they do in China. I don't think they do this in China. I don't even think they do it in Russia. And maybe in South Korea, but I don't think they do it in North Korea. I don't think they do it there either. So, and another thing on these crime rates. Let me give you some statistics here. And this is the data. And this is from Al Jazeera News, August the 12th. It says homicide rates are down 32%. This is in D.C., Washington, D.C. Sexual abuse cases are down 25%. Assault with a deadly weapon are down 27%. Robbery is down 39%. Violent crime is down 35%. and motor vehicle crime theft is down 25%. So whatever Donald Trump thinks he's doing, it ain't working. He ain't changing the subject. You got your facts wrong like you usually do, because you know how you can tell when Donald Trump is lying? His lips are moving. That's just a joke. But anyway, let's get on, because he's trying to change the subject. He don't want you to talk about Jeffrey Epstein. And you all heard about Jeffrey Epstein and his little girlfriend, Galena Maxwell. You know, you heard it. I'm going to give you some background on this guy. He's a smart fellow, this Jeffrey Epstein. And he taught mathematics and physics at Manhattan School before beginning a finance career at Bear Stearns. That's where he worked. And he had some investment firms. Now, despite his financial success, Epstein's life was marred by serious criminal allegations. That sounds like Donald Trump's life, marred by criminal allegations and also guilty. So anyway, he was a registered sex offender, and he pleaded in a deal in 2008 for solicitation and prostitution. And also he was investigated for sex trafficking involving minors. This is that Jeffrey Epstein. This is Donald Trump's friend, y'all. Now, this is what Donald Trump said in 2002. Donald Trump told New York Magazine, this is what he said about Epstein. I knew Jeff for 15 years. Terrific guy. He's a lot of fun to be with. He says it's even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them on the younger side. That's what Donald Trump said about Jeffrey Epstein, a pedophile and an abuser, sexual abuser of girls 13, 14 years old. Donald Trump called this man a good guy. And y'all folks want to tell me that Donald Trump's a Christian man? That sound like a Christian man to you? Huh? Let me move on. Now, these files, everybody talking about these files. Where are these files at? At first, the U.S. Attorney General, Pam Bondi, said she has the file sitting on her desk. I got the file sitting on my desk. A few weeks later, Pam Bondi and FBI Director Kash Patel said, well, there are no files. And then Donald Trump turned around and said, President Obama made up the files. Him and Joe Biden and Bill Clinton and maybe a sugar bear from the Kellogg sugar commercial, and maybe Big Bird they all made up the files. You know what I mean? They made up the files. Boss Hogg, he made up the files from Dukes of Hazzard. For some of you young folks, y'all don't know who Boss Hogg was. Look up Boss Hogg from the Dukes of Hazzard. So anyway, they blaming everybody. They ain't got the files. First said they got the files, they ain't got the files. Now, there is a clip of Jeffrey Epstein talking about his relationship with Donald Trump. Now, Jeffrey Epstein, he repeatedly invoked the Fifth Amendment right of self-incrimination during a deposition. It was a case brought on by Virginia Guffer, and I probably pronounced that name wrong. She was one of his sexual abusers, right? Now, in this deposition in 2016, Epstein invoked the Fifth Amendment right 600 times for refusing to answer questions, even when they asked him did he knew Christine Maxwell. He claimed he didn't know her. So you know he was lying. Now, anyway, after that, now we're going to show you the clip. We're going to show the clip, and I'll be quiet, and you can watch what Jeffrey Epstein says when the attorney asked him about his relationship with Donald Trump.
You ever had a personal relationship with Donald Trump?
Huh?
What do you mean by
This
personal
man
relationship?
refused to answer
Have
the
you socialized
question,
with
so
him?
you know what
Yes,
that
sir.
means.
Yes?
Yes, sir.
He asked him,
Have you ever
if him and
socialized with
was
Donald
in the room
Trump
with underage
in the
girl, you heard
presence
it.
of
It speaks for itself. I don't need to go no further.
females
Let me tell you
under
about
the
this,
age of 18?
Christine Maxwell. What she got 20 years. She was found guilty, folks. And I'm gonna tell you what she was guilty of. She was guilty of sex trafficking in a minor. She was found guilty for sex trafficking in a minor. She was found to a conspiracy to commit sex trafficking. And also she was found guilty of transportation of a minor with the intent to engage in criminal sexual activity. She got 20 years, folks. Now, when the reporter asked Donald Trump, about this Christina Maxwell, and she's locked up and all this thing. This is what he said. He said, "I wish her well and good luck." Now, folks, here's a woman who was guilty of sex trafficking minors, 12, 13-year-old girls, guilty of committed sex trafficking for 12, 13-year-old girls, guilty. And they arrested Jeffrey Epstein also on similar charges, but he died in prison when he was locked up. He never did get to trial. And Donald Trump, the President of the United States, said that he wished her well and good luck to a pedophile. This is what we come to, America. The President of the United States wished a pedophile, a sexual abuser, a sexual trafficker of teenage girls, wished her luck. For all you Trump supporters, I don't care if you support this man to the day you die. Ain't no way in hell you're going to support this man on this issue right here, right? And whatever in those files, let it come out. Whatever's in the files, and at this point, it must be some incriminating stuff because they haven't released the files. Anytime Donald Trump don't want you to see anything, he covers it up. Remember he said he made all these good grades in college, never seen the transcript. Remember he said he's going to release his tax returns, never released the tax returns. Remember he said all that nonsense? Here we are again. And then he's going to get the troops in Washington, D.C., like he sent them down to California, So the bottom line is, folks, we're dealing with the most dangerous president in the history of this country, who has his cabal, who's covering for criminal activity, and the Republican Party is going right along with him, because when they didn't even want to have a congressional hearing because Speaker of the House Mike Johnson told the House that they were in recess and didn't want to take a vote, and they left town and ain't never came back to vote on it. That's how dangerous this is. See, Donald Trump is only dangerous. He's not dangerous by himself. He's dangerous because he has people who support his lie and his deviant behavior and his cover-ups. That's what's dangerous, right? So, I'm going to close with that before I get thrown off the air. But remember this, folks. We got the President of the United States, Donald Trump, covering for pedophiles. That's how low he done took the office of the presidency. Now, had they asked me about this Christine Maxwell, you know what I'd have said? I'd have said, I hope she burned in hell. That's what I'd have said. Because I know I ain't guilty of nothing. So he must be guilty or something, or he knows that this Ms. Maxwell knows something on him, because otherwise he wouldn't have wished her well, and he wouldn't have sent his attorney down there to talk to this woman and then move her to another cushy prison. He ain't talked to no victims, and some of the victims are still alive. They older now. They still alive. You don't see them talking to the victims, do you? Come on, America. I know we better than this. I know we got to be better than this to elect the Republican Party, the party that's backing Donald Trump, to elect these people to cover up for pedophiles. The midterms better be something else. You better flip that doggone house. You better start voting Democrat. Because I can tell you what, when the Democrats found out about they had Congress people doing not even close to this, they threw them out of office. Republican Party, they covered for them. So that's the difference. So until next time, may God bless you and your family.